because initially the filmmaking has always been a dictatorial process. Then later when the technology came up, people wanted to make it a corporate structure, which very failed.
Why is it a dictatorial process?
No, because at some level, I think three people: the director, producer, and the hero. These are the three people, and depending on how big the hero or how big the director or how big the producer are, they'll take the shots. Let's say if it's a big producer.
But who else should take?
No, I'm not saying questioning the process. I'm just stating something that it has been a dictatorial process.
Yeah, I'm saying what I'm trying to say. The producer, let's say, is putting the money.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's his call.
The director is creatively controlling whatever something. Now, I changed lot of things in Shiva.
Right.
Not because of anything except for me being able to convince Annapurna Studios.
Right.
So, that convincing part also has to be a part of my capacity. It's not about how I make the film.
Right.
To make the choices of casting and blah blah blah, everything, also you need that.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me finish what I was trying to say. I agree to what you said. So what happened is in Hollywood and even some places here, they try to bring in the corporate structure.
Yeah.
Which you can
Which
see
is
some
there even
overlap in the OTT process.
Yes,
or
which is there now. Yeah.
even some production houses
Correct,
and
correct.
big studios they always
right.
have. So is this like the third phase that we are seeing?
See, I think the difference between an independent producer and a corporate thing, I would say, I'll give an example. When Ridley Scott was making Prometheus, okay, and he had an idea to change something in the climax. This was while shooting. Okay, we do that all the time. We keep on
Right.
changing everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, but he called for a meeting with all the principal actors and technicians and the board of the studio, and said, "This is what was supposed to happen. This is what I want to do." And he had a debate with them. And heard their opinions and X and Y, and finally did it. So when a journalist asked him, even at your level, one of the top directors in the world, even you have to have a discussion with. I mean, you have to convince others. He said, "You see, it's not like that. No, all of us came together because of the script.
Right.
The studio is putting $200 million for the script. The actors, blah blah blah." Now, I can't have one whimsical thing that I want to change this in the last minute without telling anyone or whatever it is. So, if I am making for the audience, they are also my audience.
Right.
If I can't convince them giving a logical answer, then I have no business to do the change, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Right.
But yes, now, what if they said no? It can happen.
Right.
And the studio might say no.
I think
It
they did
happens
that for
all the
Avatar.
time. With the exception of the top three like Nolan and Spielberg and Cameron and maybe 4 or 5 people, I don't think Hollywood will ever listen to an individual director above their
No. I think
above their interests.
I remember James Cameron in one specific part, like during the release of Avatar 2, he said that when Avatar 1 was being made, he went to the studio heads, they showed the rushes and everything. They said there is a significant portion of heroes just flying around on those animals. And I think that portion is very high. You can reduce that by 10 minutes because it's not adding to the story.
I got it.
Okay, because he's just flying around. He's not doing anything. There is no romance. There is no fight. There is nothing happening. That's taking the story forward.
Yeah.
He's just flying around. You can cut down by 10 minutes. James Cameron fought with them. They said like, no, this is my vision. I'll have to make it, and audience resonated more with that. They really enjoyed that.
See, those are hundreds of examples.
Right.
The point here is, at the end of the day, this could have gone wrong also so many times.
Agree.
Because you are only talking about when it worked. You know. So now the point is, when the studios, most of the time they follow screen testing recommendations.
Right.
You know, if the screen testing is positively showing something is wrong, if there's 80 to 90% people said that 10 minutes is too boring, something, there is no way they would allow.
Right.
It's not like again there's one person's dictatorial aspect.
Right.
That is a procedural aspect. If there are so many people are feeling it's boring, there has to be some problem in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Fatal Attraction is one of my most favorite films. In that the screen testing had a problem with the climax.
Okay.
Most of them. So they forced the director and actors, including the big level star cast. You're talking about Michael Douglas and Adrian Lynn, the director, whose 3 films of the previous were blockbuster hits, 9.5 Weeks, Flashdance, and something else, they forced them.
Okay.
And so when the DVD came out, they released the alternate ending.
The director's cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they also had an alternate ending.
Okay.
One film the way it was
Okay,
released, and one the original ending which the director wanted.
Yeah.
And strangely for me, I like both endings.
Okay.
For me,
Yeah, because I think
Now the contest is when I heard the arguments of Adrenaline why they shouldn't change the ending of Glenn Close, they seem perfectly valid.
Okay.
On an argument thing. But why did the audience feel a dissatisfaction in the climax? Because I am seeing this whole process after I already saw the film multiple times.
Right.
So it is difficult for me to what they felt, how it was pitched, what they were expecting.
Okay.
The Glenn Close was like a very grey character as far as the understanding of the director and the actors are concerned.
Okay.
And the audience thought of her as a bitch. They thought of her as an evil force, which is not what their intention was.
Okay.
So if you look at her as a grey character, the original ending seems more perfect than this.
I think
so. That is what happens in cinema. You never know when the audience will shift in a what you are intending to give them. What they take it is a very difficult thing to understand.
Yeah, I think this happened with Zack Snyder's Snyder Cut. That got released. Basically, the movie flopped. Then the audience put a poll saying that get the director to release the director's cut, which became a humongous hit.
Yeah.
But the audience rallied with the director.
Many times screen testings they don't give accurate value. But the point is, from the corporate structure, if they are answerable for such a large amount of money, and they already put in a certain process to safeguard to the highest extent possible, they want to be procedurally right.
Is this procedurally right, or is this shifting blame?
It's not shifting blame. Of course, but who will? Why should they take blame? Why should one person decide for? The director obviously can be whimsical. He might be just having a mental block.
Agree.
And then the guy sitting in that chair, he will not say, fuck it, I don't want it. No, he will say, I'm getting a screen testing thing, and if 70% above are not liking it, I want to take responsibility. So we have to take the director out and cut that whole sequence, which happens all the time.
Okay. I think contrary to this,
so the point is to think of the director just because he's given the creative tag to be, I mean, like for example, let us say when Titanic came out, almost in the similar time period, Kevin Costner's film done this Waterworld came in. Now Waterworld wiped out the studio.
I didn't get that.
Waterworld wiped out the studio which made it. It became such a big disaster.
Okay.
And Kevin Costner, from the Oscar winner of Dancing with the Wolves and all that, is a highly respected guy. And they poured money like anything. He also had a similar thing like Cameron.
Okay.
I want exactly the way it is on this and that. And they went by him.
Okay.
And they disappeared.
Okay.
So, because Waterworld didn't work, now we are saying a Kevin Costner, Juba Diya Mere Ko, all that you talk.
Okay.
So, I think it's a very, very difficult choice for anyone to make because the stakes are different for different people, but the director is a creative thing. For financial is a financial, the investor, the producer, the actor is a completely different thing.
Right.
But all of them had come together at some point of time, believing in each other.
Right.
But by reach the end, if there's a creative difference, it happens all the time.
Right.
Who will take that call? Obviously, the guy with maximum to lose, or with the maximum ego, or the maximum strength. Position will take that call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have a
and that is being a part of the whole world.
That's part of the process. DDLJ, when it was being made, Adi Chopra was the only one who believed the whole thing. Neither crew nor the cast, nobody believed that this movie is going to be a hit. They just came because they were all friends and they were doing it. And not even the lightmen believed that this movie is going to work. It's just like Baap Ka Paisa Hai, Dubara Hai. But when it became like such a iconic blockbuster. It ran for 20 years, 1,000 weeks, whatever. It's still running in Maratha Mandir and all. It actually came because of the whimsical of one director. So
that is not really true. I know about that. See, the point is, most films, people working in the film don't believe it as a rule.
Okay.
Majority of the films,
right,
including Sholay, I am talking about.
Right.
Okay, Shiva also nobody believed it.
Right.
But that could be because they have a very limited vision. Shot by shot, they see, they hear something, and whatever. Like Shiva, how not a single person believed. Why they didn't believe? Not because of anything else. They couldn't understand what's happening.
Okay.
Suddenly, some new actor is coming. Is giving a warning to Nagarjuna. He might be effective on screen, but his outside is just like that and that. They So,
Right.
choose actor को लेकर, that is a general feeling.
Okay.
So the point is, when it came together, it would have surprised them. It also surprised me, though I made it.
Right.
What surprised me is, wow, they are taking it. I didn't visualize it.
Okay.
It will
It's
create
accidental.
such an impact. Yeah, I always say that. Every film of mine, from Shiva to Aag, I make with this. Otherwise, why would I make it? Why would any filmmaker spend 1 year making a film unless he believes in it? So
Okay.
if the film is not worked or film worked, both of them are coming from his intention only,
Right.
So in that context, people, suppose when they are having a discussion, a story discussion, one guy says this is the story, this is the correct thing. Another guy says no, it won't work. Third guy will say. In the room of 4-5 people, finally one guy will take the call.
Right.
Whoever is the most powerful. Sometimes it could be a star, or it could be a director, it could be a producer, or whoever it is. Then all the others will be waiting for it to flop because they were not heard. That's the actual truth of life.
I've seen it.
Every big film, without exception, I hear the people working in the film bitching about it.
Right.
Without exception. This
Yeah.
is, yeah.
I think that's
So that is
more part
not
of the
a-
process.
Yeah. So at the time when Dilwale Dulhania is made, Aditya Chopra's first film, Aditya is not very, very well versed in how we can explain
Articulate
this.
and everything. Yeah.
I mean, Shah Rukh is a big star, and he has a lot of respect for Yash Chopra because of Dar and all that. And okay, now I'm not talking about Aditya alone. Now, so the point is, when I told about Satya, I keep saying we didn't make Satya. Satya made us. What is the difference? We can make Satya, we can make again. Nah? Why are we not able to make? For
Right.
25 years, neither me nor Anurag nor Manoj or Saurav, we are not able to pull off another Satya, no?
Right.
But we are living on Satya.
I agree.
Which means Satya made us, not we. Not we didn't make Satya. Okay. So it's in the same context.
Okay.
There is a person who believes in it blindly and the picture becomes a disaster. Okay? Okay, then we'll say, no matter how many times we told him he didn't listen, fucker, they'll say that.
Yeah.
Okay? And another time it becomes a blockbuster. Then they will forget what they said. That's human nature.
Yeah.
If James Cameron, whether Water World would have worked better or Titanic would have worked better, we don't know now. We are talking about after the thing happened.
Yeah. Okay. I was a little bit surprised with what you said, like, you don't know how to use any camera or everything. But you've been the pioneer in bringing new technology, experimenting with new cameras and, changing the form factor.
But the point is, I don't get into the devices.
Okay.
I know I want to use it for the effect which is coming on screen.
Okay, but if you don't really completely understand, which is not needed, agree.
Yeah.
But how do you decide, like, I want to use this technology?
I mean, see, for example, I was the first guy to use a Steadicam.
Agree.
For example. Now, what is a Steadicam? I saw an unusual kind of a movement in this film called Shining. Okay. When I researched on that, I came to know it was done by a Steadicam camera.
Right.
Okay. Now, I want a similar visual in Shiva when a chase is happening. And that is done by the Steadicam. I need to know only this much. Why do I need to know how the Steadicam works?
No, that I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So similarly, a soundless camera came, like BL4. At Shiva time, when the worrying sound used to come. It's just common sense, or you want to use that.
Okay.
Then when using the Panther crane, for example, all of these I've done it for the first time.
Yeah.
I go by the movements I see or movements I visualize. If I say I want a movement like that, a cameraman might say this can be achievable through a certain rig like that.
Okay.
Or certain something like that.
It's the input that you are taking and accepting.
Yeah, because
it.
my description of the shot is the point for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's say until some new technology comes, you also might not be able to visualize, oh, this can be physically possible. For example,
Yeah, and you see, when you're visualizing, sometimes the concerned people might say this shot is not possible. They might say that. They say that all the time.
physically not possible.
Physically not possible. Or sometimes they might say we can try it this way, but we are not sure. Then depends upon how badly I want it. I might say yes, let's try it.
Okay.
Yeah, but more or less in today's, if for example, if you're into very heavily into VFX oriented films, that will be a problem.
Yeah.
I personally am not too much into VFX.
Right.
I don't connect to it at all. I
Okay.
want to see in live happening in front of me.
Okay.
So when I'm visualizing what something has not been seen before, see, for example, in Shanakshanam, I wanted a shot of the camera showing the moon, and you hear a sound, and this vehicle comes like that.
Okay.
You know, it covers the camera, and then it comes out and goes up over the car to show a bank.
Show a bank.
Show a bank in the background. Now this is something I narrate all the time. I used to narrate. I have no clue how to take this shot.
Right.
You know, and then when the cameraman and assistant director, they were just thinking how to do this shot. Then they came up with this idea of digging a trench.
Okay.
You know, and the trench of just about 3 feet, and that was like a tracking size of the Panther crane. Now the Panther crane was put inside.
The trench. Okay.
And then the camera was tilted up to show like this, and the moon it came, and then the long trolley of the trench was very long out of the car, and then it rose up to show that.
See, exactly.
Now, this entire process of what to do with the Panther, I was not involved.
Yeah.
I only described my shot. That's
Right.
it.
But you are very particular that this shot needs to be
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, but if they said it's not possible, I would have left it.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
you're not.
I mean, if I can't think of, either I can think of how to do it, or they say we can do it, or if they say we cannot do it, what else can you do?
Okay. But like, let's say, how about like the transition from digital, like the from film to digital?
Yeah, so that happened. See, when I was hearing about digital, you know, I saw a footage in AdLab in Bombay. I couldn't make out any difference between something shot on film and this. I asked a DOP who was there, and he said, I mean, the darks or browns, maybe that also could be a part of the DI, he said. He is also not sure what is the difference, you know. And then I used it for the first time in Raktachatra.
Right.
You know, one big thing for me, what happened was, you don't need to worry about film running out in the magazine.
Yeah.
That was one big relief for me. Okay, one point. Then me knowing technology is different from understanding.
Implementing.
No, not implementing. Knowing the effect of technology is different from understanding how the process works.
Okay.
So I trust technology. Now, what is trusting mean? To give a very simple example, when the first hair dryers came,
Right.
hair dryer, my wife used to tell me when I use it, no, that causes cancer and things like that. And there was some rumor about hair dryers can affect your brain or something. You know?
Okay.
I continued using it, and when she was angry, I said, "You don't trust me or what?" She said, "See, if it comes to trust, I'd rather trust the man who invented this," I said. So the point is, there is someone who invented something, which means there is a brain which is working.
Right.
Okay. So same thing applies. If there is a hair dryer being considered, invented, and is out in the market being sold, either I need to know it first hand, something which is beyond what they are understanding. If I don't know, I would trust the invention. Okay. This is one part. That could be just my personality trait. Someone else might not have it.
Okay.
The other thing is, when in company we are shooting a scene, and in a train, Vivek Oberoi, these guys are there, and my DOP said, that's because a new guy, he never shot a film before company. He said, "Sir, can we just shoot in the existing lights on the coach without any lights?" No, I said, "Will that work?" And he said, "Just check the temperature, and as per
the light meter and
as per the light meter, that film company is saying it can be done. Now, we are going to bloody challenge Kodak and Eastman color technology or what? I said, fuck it, do it.
Okay.
And it came perfectly.
Okay.
Okay, so in that sense, coming back to Rakta Charitra, I basically asked to side by side shoot, you know,
I didn't get
in terms of the 2K,
Okay.
4K resolution,
Okay.
and just a normal camera.
Real
They were
camera.
shooting the same thing, and when you're putting it back to back, there's no difference.
Was Rakta Chaitra entirely digital or?
Entirely digital, entirely,
Okay.
yeah.
But you tested it this way.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very basic. It's not
Okay.
like extensive or anything, because people were scaring me.
Okay.
So some director told me, you won't get latitude. So I said, what is latitude? No? He also doesn't know. He just is using a term.
Okay.
I said, picture dikh raha hai nahi. Are you able to see the picture? Is it in focus? Except for these two, nothing makes a difference. Don't give me all the depth of focus and this and all that.
Okay.
If I am seeing with my eye, it is being seen. That's it. What would you want to see?
Okay.
Yeah. So in all the examples I am giving, I have no clue.
Right.
I don't know how to operate my Insta.
Okay.
I must be the only guy in the world, I think, you know.
No.
No, I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
Because I only use the Twitter.
Right.
So Insta always someone else posts for me. So I
Okay.
don't want to learn anything which is not used to me. Where I directly see I should know it, I'll be in that at that
You
time.
just need to know how it needs to be implemented.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think the same goes for the entire process down the line?
Yes.
Okay. But is when you are trusting some person or technician or the machine, don't you like willing yourself be more open to like loss of quality or quality control?
It depends. It's not like, I mean, see, films are, you don't suddenly realize. For example, when I was making Anagan Gokroju, I had a certain cameraman, Rasool, who I gave a break to in a film called Gayam.
Okay.
First, I called him, and he said he was busy in some other film. Then the still photographer who takes continuity stills, he came to me for some work, and I asked him, "Nujasta photo, yeah." He said, "What's that?" No, it's just understand lighting, and if anything is wrong, I will tell you,
Yeah.
and I will try. He said, I made him a cameraman. He's never, he's a continuity still photographer.
He eventually became a cameraman?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got a Nandi award also for some film.
Okay.
Okay. So then my assistant Vamshi and all that, everybody was saying, no, you have to check every day. I said, what you are seeing with your eyes, the same thing will come. Why do you need to check it anywhere? Point one. Point two, focus, the focus puller is putting, not him. Focus puller is a completely separate job.
Right, that's a different skill.
Okay, second. Third is, if it is going so drastically wrong, for some reason which I can't fathom, the lab people anyway will alert us. See, the lab rushes will be processed every day, no? It is not like they don't wait for the whole film to be over.
Yes.
So you don't need to. So you have to have that minimum trust.
Okay.
When that guy said, like a company cameraman, he came and asked me to give him a film. I said, what makes you think you can do a feature? What is the background? He said, I'm one of the 3 operators in a chat show. What makes you think you can do a feature film? I said, I can't think of any reason why I can't. He said, I like the answer. So that shows intelligence.
Okay.
And any intelligent person will not claim that he will do something which he cannot do.
Right.
So I go basically by fundamentals of this.
Okay.
Does it work all the time? No.
Okay.
There are times, maybe 10 to 20% of the time I go wrong.
Okay.
You know? But it's since we spend tremendous time and energy if I manage to trust at least 80% of the people.
Okay.
So they will compensate for the loss of the 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this as a statement. I just consider this part of the question. The recent films that you've been made post digitally, Rakta Charitra was good, and there was like a couple of other films which are visually, cinematic and quality wise also everything good. But are significant movies which are okay, ice cream and everything. You are experimenting, Dongal Mutta and all. It's an experiment that can be done. But other mainstream movies that you are doing, still feel there is a lot of quality loss. Is this because of the digital process got a lot of laziness in the team
I
itself?
mean, I don't think so. I mean, is eventually it comes from the top, the decision maker, me being the guy.
Right.
I might not have the interest to, depending on the subject matter or whatever. Sometimes I might, I never ever really looked at quality of a photography in my entire career.
Okay.
Okay, even if you look at Satya, one of my most popular, that's got a very bad photography.
Okay.
Actually, you don't realize because of the drama.
Ambience of the story.
The entire climax of the film, half of it is in drizzle rain and half of it is, it'll have these shadows of the sun
Okay.
and all that.
Okay.
So I look at only the drama which is happening. I am not particular about the photographic aesthetics, like the
Okay.
way, like someone told me, Mani Ratnam, even like a MCH garbage thing also, he will backlight it, and
Yeah.
I will show it in front light exactly the way it
Yeah.
is. So sometimes I might take care, like Raat, I remember consciously taking a lot of care about
Right.
photography. You know, Satya I did not.
Okay.
I did not, many films for that matter. So it is my instinct, what I feel at that point of time. What I made this film called Not a Love Story. In that, absolutely did not use lights. It is
Right.
just like a small GoPro camera, those kind
Yeah.
of things
Yeah.
I use. I use it for deliberately, consciously. It is
Okay.
not about. But when I am very particular about this has to photograph, I may take it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, Revenant movie was entirely shot without using any cinema lights, but it looks obviously
See,
very
but
cinematic.
again, I told you, the photographic image is a combination of the actor, the location, what is happening in the content, all that together. It is
Right.
not the camera.
Right.
If that was shot in cell phone, it look as grand.
Right.
Yeah, it was shot in Sony FX, it will shoot on Alexa, it won't change at all. It look as beautiful as it looked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because of what's happening in front of the camera.
Okay. So coming back to your film, let's say this entire process is done and the film is being made. Are we telling the audience? Are we just offering a compelling story, or are we offering a wholesome quality film going experience?
We are
Because
not-
then
we are not
technical aspects
offering-
will
see,
also be coming into play, right?
We are not offering either, we are only offering the context of the creation process of getting the key people decided.
Okay.
How the film comes out, the promise has to be done by the director who they have chosen.
You've experimented with different processes challenging the industry norms or the mainstream process before also doing like Dongal Mutta or other aspects.
Yeah.
They might have given like one or two filmmakers in that process. Like Maruti did a movie called Bus Stop, and eventually now he's directing Prabhas and everything. So the process do work, but
See,
they're not mainstream, right?
That is very wrong thing to say. See, the point is, if Dangal Mutta, if it is shot with Ari Alex also, it will be as big a flop.
Yeah,
The film's content is nothing to do with the camera.
No.
Similarly, Maruti's film, at that time, he realized that he can do it at a low cost cameras is the only point. Otherwise, if that was done, also it will be done the same.
Agree.
Yeah.
But when you made it, it kind of gave people a perspective like, okay, this can be
fair
done.
enough, yeah.
So that gave a certain, it kind of opened gates to a certain thinking. So like what we are trying to achieve with this, your film is also trying to open up a new perspective of
Yeah, correct.
what can be considered. So same with like using like small FX cameras or other cameras for ice cream or all these things. You've been showing like alternative methods of how stories can be told, or like a story should come from rural or native stories that needs to be told.
Yeah.
I think Rajagar Ranivaru was one film where Kirana Boram and all these people, they made something very compact budget, with very little like small camera, just one tripod. They had a small auto and they made the film. It was worked. Now Kirana Boram is doing like 5-6 movies a year, and the director is doing a movie with Vijay Deverakonda and everyone. So these processes, what you initially thought, might not work on a larger scale. Like it might not change the whole industry, but there are small examples who are working phenomenally well. Like it gave somebody like Maruti thought. It gave somebody like Ravi a thought. So these perspectives are coming up. Do you expect this process to also be one example among many, or this will be the new process that can be an alternative story?
See, logically speaking, what it stands for, I think it's a new model for business,
Right.
new model for investment,
Right.
new model for getting I mean like a unknown talent into the center stage,
Hmm.
it does encompass almost everything the film industry stands for in a
Right.
completely opposite direction.
Hmm.
And there is also collecting a database which has never been done before in this kind of a stipulated process,
Right.
which can be made use for by the industry who are not even in the your film concept.
Okay.
Like for example, I already started using the guys who I got from your film,
Agree.
like a DOP, a director or a music director. Yeah,
Right. So,
it only can do so much good.
okay.
Yeah.
So, let's say there is a significant response from the audience. Can you show that to the OTTs and say, because there is this much interest, so when we make the film, instead of let's say you giving us a quote of X amount of price, because there is already audience base, we can hire a.
See, any which way the OTTs will look at all the possible things they have to evaluate a project, and if
Right.
something new join, and if they think anything of its credibility, they'll obviously take it into consideration.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you think that can like you
Yes,
can
yes, of
negotiate
course.
higher prices and everything?
Yeah, yeah.
Showing the interest model and everything.
Yeah.
I'm asking because other people might show like as a model to prove to the OTTs that this has more viability or more wider
Yeah,
audience
fair
is
enough. Yeah, yeah.
preemptively. Okay. Do you think? I think the same goes for trailer has millions of views. Please give us a higher price. It's kind of correlating in that
Yeah,
aspect
yeah.
only. Okay. What is the scale of further, if you like continue this element, do you want to bring more branches, like you have like 4 or 5 categories now? Do you want to bring more categories, or do you want to like let the audience choose more
I think
things?
the technical aspects of sound design and editing and all this, I think leave it to, because the way the film is made and to experiment when you're putting this particular scene, I think that I would rather leave it to the director. I
Okay.
think only the creative, artistic aspect of it is the only thing I want to
Okay.
stick to. Yeah.
Based on what I got is 80 to 90% of the submissions are not meeting the
Yes.
criteria that is
Correct.
mentioned in the website. Is there something that you want to tell the audience specifically, so that at least now the submissions that are coming, they'll go through the process?
I mean, see, to just look at when you so such bold letters we are putting
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
if they are not reading it, following, it is just that there are too many dumb people in the world.
Okay.
Except for that, I don't want to plead to them. If they don't
Yeah.
have the smartness even to understand, I'd rather not want them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's better to
In
go for
1,000, if I get 10 people, I'm very happy.
Okay.
10, 10 out of 1,000 is a very high number.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I agree. But do you think this is reaching to the other languages as you're expecting?
I really do. I haven't seen the analytics and all that. Doesn't
Okay.
make any difference, because it's a long continuing process. Not like it does has a certain. For example, from the things we got, I just gave a deadline of May 20th to not take the submissions.
Okay.
It will take some time after that to publish it.
Okay.
So it is one film.
Okay.
After that, directly based on the increase of the numbers, and we'll take the call on a case-to-case basis.
Okay. I think the only thing that needs to be mentioned to the audience watching is just make sure that if you are submitting in other languages, put subtitles.
Yeah.
Which is not
Okay.
mentioned in the website.
Yeah.
Just make sure that that is there, so that it is conveyed properly.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But
Let's-
that, I think, more or less anybody who makes short films also have that sensibility to put subtitles. Since the digital is another world, it doesn't belong to any one specific language. But it's good that we clarified it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to tell to the people. Anyway, thank you for such a good conversation. I think it does send
Well,
more
I'm sure
clarity
this
to
is the
people.
most comprehensive interview I've done. Not I have done, rather you did,
Okay.
getting the aspects of your film out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think an audience will get all of that in this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys. for
Even
watching.
after this interview,
Huh.
if they don't get it, let them
Yeah.
not get it.
Okay.